Hello, this is Aaron Maller from Parallax, and this is just a quick video to go over the changes that we're making regarding the accessibility clearances to the Parallax door library. Again, big shout out to Tom Whitehead because he emailed about this last night, and that's what made me jump up here to look at it. So I'm going to just zoom in on the single swing door as an example. The orange ones are our unit doors, the black ones are our instance doors, and I haven't fixed the instance doors yet, so that's why I thought I'd show this. So just to recap, if you select any of the doors and you turn on their ADA clearances or accessibility clearances, you'll see the clearances show up. Obviously works the same way for our unit doors, so we can turn both of those on. A byproduct of that, of course, is that if you're in the project, even when those clearances are turned off, they don't exist. If you were to schedule them right now, there's no clearances there because they are invisible in the family editor. But obviously selection of the door still happens whenever you cross over them. And that's because in the family editor, they are there. So in this door, we've now fixed that, as you can see here, so it doesn't select it. And what we did is actually pretty simple. We actually use this technique elsewhere in the libraries. That's kind of why when Tom brought it up, I smacked my head like, why didn't we ever think of this before? So just to show you, if we were to turn on the clearances now, you'll see that they pop up. Now in the past, what we were doing, you'll see here that there is a visibility parameter, and that's basically just set to is the clearance visible on this side. And that basically is just using an AND statement for basically, do clearances exist for this door, and a couple of other things. So the thing that we were doing, though, is there is both a family type selector for the clearances, because the push and the pull side can have different clearance types, of course. And then there is the do the clearances exist for this door. So this selector was actually driving these clearances. What we're doing now is we've had an extra parameter that is a family type parameter in all of our doors that's called blank. And it basically just has a family selected that simply has a name of dash. We do this for our hardware reporting. That way, if you have basically no handles turned on in the door, we don't want to make people uncheck the push or pull yes or no parameter, but then also have to switch the family type parameter to a dash. So what happens is it says, is the yes or no parameter checked? If so, use the family type selector for the kick. Otherwise, use the parameter called blank. So basically, Tom had asked, why don't we just do that same thing with the clearances? It did not dawn on me that that would actually reduce the crossing window selection. But so what's interesting is if you look at this clearance now, it's actually not being driven by the parameter that people are selecting anymore. There's another parameter called actual that just says, do the clearances exist, yes or no? If so, use the clearance parameter that somebody has chosen. Otherwise, use the one called blank. So what's actually happening, let's make sure I didn't break that. Okay. So what's happening now is if you have the clearances turned on, it's using these two selectors. But when you uncheck this, you can actually see the clearances are down here. So we have clearance type actual and clearance type actual, and they're both set to actual clearances. But when we go in and we say the clearances are going to be turned off, they're now switching to the family called dash. So the one thing we did have to check on here is your dash family, which again, we use this for a number of other things as well. It does have to have all of the same parameters and options as your clearance family, because when you switch to it, you can't break any of these parameter associations that are there. But that's fine. We actually just updated our dash family based on the clearance. And so now when the doors are loaded in, the behavior in the project will be much less fatiguing. You can still select the door without actually getting to the door, but it's a lot closer to the door on the push side than it was previously. So previously it was much farther away. So I think it's going to be a great experience. I'm about to kick off Family Processor to do it to the entire library. If you don't use Family Processor for that, by the way, it's really cool because I did the change to one family, but now we're basically going to just kick into Family Processor and tell it to push those new shared parameters and the formulas into basically every door family in the library. And then all I'll have to do is an open every task where I fly through the entire library and switch which parameter is driving the clearances. But that should totally take about 90 minutes tops. So let me know if that doesn't make sense, and I hope it works for you too.